As we delve into 3D, we're going to start with the basics of how to view objects so that we understand how to navigate around the 3D space before we start modeling in it. First, we're going to talk about views. In order to do that, we'll need something to view. So download the file Six-Sided Box 2018 from WebCourses and open it. I'll wait. Okay, when the file's open, you should see this green box. One of the first things you'll discover about 3D modeling and drafting is that in order to accomplish different tasks, you'll need to be able to view objects from different perspectives. One way to do this is with the standard views available in the view bar. The default view is top plan. You'll notice that there also is a top view. We'll discuss the differences in detail later, but for now, just to be aware that they are different and that top is a true 3D view and top plan is a special 2D top view. Selecting a view changes the orientation of the viewer in relationship to the object being viewed. Top looks at the top of the box. Front looks at the front of the box. Right looks at the right side of the box, etc. In addition to the 6 standard views, there are also 8 isometric views, 4 top isometric views, and 4 bottom isometric views. If you're working on a keyboard with a numeric keypad like the ones in the lab, be aware that the number keys can be used as view shortcuts. 5 is top, 2 is front, 8 is back, 4 is left, and 6 is right. You'll notice that they're laid out like an unfolded box. In addition to the 5 standard views, 0 is top plan, and 1, 3, 7, and 9 are the top isometric views. We'll be doing a lot of view shifting as we model, so if you have a numeric keypad, it's worth learning those shortcuts. Particularly for those of you who've worked with other 3D programs, you should be aware that Vectorworks has recently added support for multiple views. The views are interactive, and any change made in any view will be reflected in the other views. I've been using the program for about 20 years, and they only added this feature a couple of years ago, so you likely won't see me using it, but please take advantage of it if it helps you. Let's take a look at the next viewbar item, Render Mode. Render Mode controls how objects are displayed. The modes you should be aware of for this class are Wireframe, OpenGL, Hidden Line, and the various RenderWorks options. Wireframe is the most basic mode and displays objects only as outlines. As the name implies, objects look like they're merely a wireframe. It's the fastest mode because it requires the least image processing. Wireframe is not a presentation mode, it's a working mode only. You should never create a final drawing in wireframe. It can be very confusing to understand. OpenGL fills in the wireframe with solid faces. It's the mode you probably want to use most of the time. It has a nice balance between speed and visual clarity. Hidden Line is the final presentation version of wireframe. It creates a line drawing which hides the lines that shouldn't be seen. As you've seen, it can be slow compared to wireframe and is not a mode you'll want to work in, but rather save for final output. RenderWorks is the highest quality photorealistic mode. RenderWorks adds high-end features such as reflections, transparency, and high-quality lighting. You won't see a lot of difference here with our simple cube, but you will notice that it was slow even in this very simple model. I'm going to open up a slightly more complicated model, which will show the effects of RenderWorks better. This model is simply a flat surface with a sphere sitting on it. Here's a top view. Back to our original view. In OpenGL, you can see that the surface has some kind of texture, and the sphere looks like a solid color, but none of it's very realistic. If we use the RenderWorks style Realistic Night Exterior Fast, you'll get a greatly improved render. You'll also notice that it's much slower than OpenGL. Now you can see that the flat surface is polished marble, the sphere is chrome, and there are a couple of spotlights in use. If we use a final version of the RenderWorks style, we'll get the best quality, but also sacrifice a lot of speed. In fact, it's so slow that I'm going to fast forward to the end. That was a total elapsed time of 42 seconds. So, in general, you'll want to work in Wireframe or OpenGL, and then use RenderWorks or Hidden Line for the final output once you're sure that you're done with whatever you're modeling. The last item that we'll look at on the view bar is projection. Projection controls how 3D objects are translated into 2D views. The basic options are orthogonal or perspective. Orthogonal views are the parallel views we spent all of last semester working on. They're useful for technical drawings, but not for renderings. If you're creating a photorealistic drawing, you're going to want the final result to be in perspective. You generally do not want to work in perspective, however, so generally you'll work in orthogonal, and then switch to perspective to display your work. Note that 2D plan mode is a special case of the orthogonal mode. This completes part 2, and the next part will actually start drawing in 3D.